Hello, everyone. Welcome back into Crypto's News. It's me, Omar Bam, aka Crypto, here to give you the details on what's going on today in crypto. It's been a phenomenal week. As usual, I've been super busy. I got back into Kung Fu and I'm like so beat up. I haven't done martial arts since I was 18, but I did a good 3 years of it. I did some karate and Kung Fu, and I just missed so much of the endurance that comes with that. I think it's important to be strong and clear-headed as we go forward. So I'm getting back into that stuff. I'm kind of wrecked today from all the crazy hundreds of crescent kicks we threw inside and outside yesterday. But I hope you guys are doing fantastic, taking care of yourself and your loved ones. We have quite a bit to get into today. Thank you so much for joining me. Remember to hit that like button if you enjoy these kinds of updates. Remember to subscribe if you're new to the show and ding that bell notification icon so you can get notified when we do these live streams. And happy to be on top of it here as I've been since 2016 with you guys, going through and sharing any insights I might have as we go through here. And it's been it's been incredible, right? With these tariffs back and forth. We're ready to negotiate with China. China saying that there's no negotiations. Gold rocketing up over $3,300, and crypto looking like it's decoupling from stocks finally, as it's always been meant to be that life raft. Bonds being sold off. So it looks like gold right now and cryptos are some of the big beneficiaries of what is going on with these massive bubbles outside of these two blocks. But let's go ahead and take a look at the prices to start off. We have Bitcoin up 1.3%, up 24 over the last 24 hours at $94,828.57. That's remarkable. I almost couldn't believe it today that we're again knocking at $95,000 after quite the tumble that the market has been taking recently. However, we have Bitcoin up 12.2%, not bad over the last 7 days, despite all the fear that has been surrounding it. Ethereum up even stronger than Bitcoin, up 12.9% over the last 7 days and up 1.8% over the last 24 hours. I think the big question for Ethereum here, sitting just south of $1,800, is has Ethereum bottomed versus Bitcoin? And that's really anyone's guess here, right? And we have many coins that are going up, right? Solana 12.9%, just like Ethereum. Dogecoin actually beating out both of those, up 14.7% over the last week. Cardano up 13.8%. We even had a stream recently with Charles Hoskinson, founder of the company IOHK that kind of created Cardano Foundation. Him kind of talking about Ethereum not destined to survive over the next 10 years. And I can certainly understand some of those points here, but I think a lot of these points are more relevant because the price has been going down. It's so much easier for folks to convince themselves that the right decision was to sell off, that the Bitcoin maximalists were right, and it's not worth holding anything else for the longer term. I think that does remain to be seen here, but we are at a kind of critical point. So check out the chart. It's just been down and down and down for Ethereum versus Bitcoin. And we're still right around these lows. If we're going to bottom out, it should happen here. And if we don't climb this cycle, really, I think that definitely could be a big problem for Ethereum. It needs to demand the actual base currency as the oil for fees on the network. I think the community is trying to figure out how to come together with a stronger investment thesis, let's call it, right. They realize that the money does matter and the price does matter. So I've certainly seen the community kind of about face from just having more of a moral and ethical thing toward more of prices, but still trying to have both the cake and eat it too. We'll see if that works out. I don't think it's going away just yet. Ethereum isn't dead here by any means. Does anybody have one of those websites for Ethereum, which how many times has Ethereum died? This would probably be one of those points if it does not survive here at this price level. If it does rebound and it does look like it wants to today and continue, then that would be positive. But we've seen these kinds of bounces recently versus Bitcoin, and they have just not held up. So we will see what happens. Wendy Ho wrote, apparently I just woke up and Ethereum is going to $80,000. Oh, yeah. Yeah, you wouldn't be wrong, according to Leo Lanza, Wendy, who shared this chart that is making the rounds right now on Twitter. The Ethereum chart, they don't want you to see $80,000, so he shows this long-term chart going way back to around 2017. It's not the full chart for Ethereum. This is a weekly chart on Bitstamp versus the US dollar. And if it does stay within this range that he drew lines at, then we could see Ethereum hitting by February 2027, well, I guess, yeah, just south of $120,000, which would be crazy. What would the market cap actually be for Ethereum? With the amount of inflation that's coming out every day, the amount of money printing, growing M2 money supply, I wouldn't disbelieve anything. Although always trade safely and carefully. If we do fall out of this, that could portend lower prices, weakening of these kinds of theses, and so on. So just a little bit of hype just in case, right? And it does go up there. That would be nice. We're hearing about $10,000 ETH. We might actually see $80,000 ETH if this chart is to be trusted over the next couple of years. So global M2 money supply predicts Bitcoin's next move. So this is Colin Talks Crypto, someone I've had the pleasure of interviewing before. I met him at an Acapulco a long time ago. I think it was like 2017, a while ago. I think he was on the show back then too. I actually had him on. But he's been making waves because of tracking M2 money supply, which we've looked at in recent videos, so I won't go ahead and get into the details again very much and waste your time. But the money supply growing, and then there's some sort of offset, either 78 days or 108 days, I believe it is, the other one that he looks at, and whereby you see money supply climbing and then Bitcoin prices lagging behind it and also climbing as well. Same when you see M2 money supply drop off, you see Bitcoin prices come down after some sort of offset. So in this video, he looks at how accurately it's been trending recently. He's not super confident yet on it, but it has been tracking nicely. So by May, he has more of a hint if this 78-day offset is going to be accurate. But considering how money supply keeps climbing, we could see a scenario this cycle where we see Bitcoin hitting north of $160,000. Keep in mind that M2 money supply keeps climbing, so that again could signal that Bitcoin could keep climbing. And there are similar correlations if you don't believe the one he gets into here about at BTC and M2. He also gets into the gold supply and how that, or the gold price and how that tracks M2 money supply quite accurately. So we may be getting set up for some pretty good times if green prices are something that make you a happy person out here. What's up, Wendo? Good to see you, man. Wendo LTC in the house. Classic, dude. I feel weird when people change their name. Sometimes somebody will come back and say, oh, I changed my username, and I just don't recognize them, and it gets difficult for my brain to like wrap my head around that's that person. But Wendell, I just recognize you because you've had that name for so long. So good to have you here, Wendell. Thank you for your support, man. So Vivek, Swiss Central Bank just urged to create a central Bitcoin reserve at annual meeting. So this talking about the Swiss Central Bank getting ready to invest in a Bitcoin reserve on a national level here. Swiss National Bank said Adam Back, infamous Bitcoin dev. The Swiss National Bank is effectively also a highly successful hedge fund. They are smart money managers. If any national bank can do this, they can. They have $150 billion in U.S. securities amongst other assets. One of those other assets includes MSTR, which was shared here by Vivek as well. So they've increased their position of strategy stock as well. So they're definitely trying to, it seems, really get into crypto and dive in deep here. And they're signaling that to the world. So that could, again, have a lot of other hanger-ons who want to do similarly. Swiss Bank, if they're doing it, we might do it as well. And we certainly see a lot happening here in the United States. And also, this is the big news that's been coming out. The Federal Reserve withdrawing crypto activity reporting requirements for banks. So what's actually going on here? If we go over to Finance Magnets, and I'm sorry if you can't see this really well. I don't know what's going on with this website. But they're talking about rescinding certain rules that require banks to notify in advance of any crypto or stablecoin activities. If they were going to get involved in crypto, these banks, these member, especially national banks, state banks are kind of a joke, so just ignore them. These national banks, they have to be leaders. They have to deal with only trusted things. You have to notify us if you're going to get involved in crypto, and then you might be liable to penalties for that probably coming up. But that has been withdrawn. However, someone who's not very happy about this policy statement is Senator Cynthia Loomis, Wyoming. So she said the Federal Reserve's actions yesterday withdrawing crypto guidance are just lip service. Here's why. The Fed continues to illegally flout the law on master accounts. breach of which Custodia Bank, which is headed up by Caitlin Long, and that lady, what's her name, who runs all of the Kathy Woods, all the tech stocks, right? The investor in this big fund. So they have issues. They've had issues because of their crypto activities from the Federal Reserve. So they could continue to have similar issues. They're dealing with a lawsuit still. Unlike the OCC and FDIC, so Office of Controller of the Currency and the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, the Fed still uses reputation risk in bank supervision. So if you have crypto, that might be a blight on your reputation, right? That's not going to look good on the Fed. The policy statement on Section 913 hasn't been withdrawn. So she found this section as well, which hasn't been taken away, which says Bitcoin and digital assets are unsafe and unsound. And that's what's here. So holding crypto assets as principal, the board has not identified any authority permitting national banks to hold most crypto assets, including Bitcoin and Ether. So if they're not holding Bitcoin and Ether, what few crypto assets are they holding? What stable coins as principal in any amount? And there is no federal statute or rule expressly permitting state banks to hold crypto assets as principal. Therefore, the board would presumptively prohibit state member banks from engaging in such activity under Section 913 of this act. The board believes this presumption is bolstered by safety and soundness concerns. There it is again, safety and soundness. Crypto is not going to help in that case. The Financial Stability Oversight Council has observed that in the absence of a fundamental economic use case, the value of most crypto assets is driven largely by sentiment and future expectations and not by cash flows, yada, yada, from providing goods, services, largely unregulated, the entire market, non-compliant in cases. They wrote back then when they issued this opacity that's going on, counterparty exposure risks, risk of engaging with illicit finance risks through cryptocurrency, yada, yada, same kind of stuff. So that has not been rescinded, and that is making Cynthia Loomis quite upset, along with others who have these crypto banks, such as Custodia. With the Fed withdrawing, crypto guidance is just noise, not real progress. We are not fooled. The Fed assassinated companies with the industry and hurt American interests by stifling innovation and shuttering businesses. This fight is far from over. And there is Caitlin Long, who probably had a word here with Miss Loomis. Thank you for seeing this for what it is. Again, one of the founders of Custodia Bank that does hold crypto and is dealing with that lawsuit. And furthermore, Cynthia Loomis wrote, I will continue to hold the Fed accountable until the digital asset industry gets more than a life jacket. Chair Powell, they need a fair shake. Hey, we are the life jacket. Am I right? Am I right? Citibank also reporting, kind of following this news, according to Crypto Beast anyways, who shared this on X. He wrote, Citibank, one of the largest U.S. banks, will soon allow its customers to invest in Bitcoin and various cryptocurrencies directly from their bank accounts per WSJ. We're hearing more winds, more words in the background, more rumors that banks are really getting ready to engage with crypto because of the new administration, the Fed easing rules, and lax accounting requirements, and so on. So Citibank could be one of the first. However, I could not find this article. Maybe they did rescind it. He didn't share a link to the actual article. So for this point, I'm just going to take this as news, although I definitely feel like it's coming. It's not just going to be Citibank. It's going to be Bank of America. It's going to be JP Morgan in a bigger way. It's going to be all these banks. Fidelity, already kind of a crypto ally very early on and a leader, I would say. So I wouldn't be surprised if this was true. Grok didn't lead me to believe that this was fake, however, so this could very well be true. Loving Litecoin still, man. I'm happy to hear it. I want to know what you think about Litecoin, actually. I've been kind of out of the loop with it, although I'm hearing more excitement from the Litecoin community. I stumbled upon their subreddit recently, and I know there was a lot of excitement about things coming up and what that could be doing for the price, and it's ready to save this market and so on. So maybe you're in the right place, brother. So yeah, I couldn't find that article. This is me searching Citi on a Wall Street Journal. I searched for Citibank, Citigroup. I couldn't find that article. So just a heads up. But this is an official announcement. Coinbase has announced that they are working with PayPal here to advance PayPal stablecoin. That's pretty much going on here. Coinbase is excited to team up with PayPal to drive widespread stablecoin adoption by delivering trust and seamless custody, distribution, and access to PyUSD. Coinbase continues to scale the future of payments. Coinbase and PayPal will not only enable simplified customer access to stablecoins, but also make it easier than ever for millions of PayPal customers to bring their finances on-chain. As part of this effort, Coinbase will enable zero fee, not bad, USD to PyUSD. That's the PayPal stablecoin, so dollar to stablecoin, zero fee conversions for retail and institutional customers customers. Coinbase aims to leverage its leading infrastructure platform to expand support for stablecoins to PayPal's largest merchant partners, promoting broader adoption of faster and more efficient financial services. We will also collaborate with PayPal to explore new use cases on-chain utilizing Pi USD. So maybe like your worthless dollars on PayPal might have more utility if you convert them to Pi USD and you can engage in some degen type stuff. But anyway, yeah, I imagine this is great for PayPal that's trying to get the word out about this, grow liquidity, and what better partner, I suppose, than Coinbase, who really understands how to do this kind of thing on a big way. They, help USDC majorly to get a foothold in the industry, so totally makes sense. And also kind of following this segment here from the World Economic Forum, where the CEO of Coinbase, Brian Armstrong, is talking about how Bitcoin reserves held by governments are on track to be equal to or greater than their gold reserves. So this is really wild to hear from him. And I do think he doesn't just speak outlandishly and superfluously. I think he's very measured in what he says based on what he knows and feels, and was a really big initiator of this entire industry, one of the first investors in cryptocurrencies, along with others like Roger Ver, Eric Voorhees. He was certainly a leader in giving a lot of credibility and financing to this space. So check him out and his thoughts.
But I think it's clear at this point that Bitcoin is a better form of money than gold. It is provably scarce, just like gold, but it's more portable and divisible. So you can actually use it. Has higher utility, I would say. And it was the best performing asset of the last 10 years. And so for store of value, I think it's going to be important for governments to hold this over time. It might start with being 1% of their reserves, but I think over time it'll come to be equal to or greater than gold reserves.
Okay, great. Well, let's go to the next question. Let's go.
There, you heard it. See, I'm not talking out of my butt. That was Brian Armstrong himself. And yeah, like that section where he says that Bitcoin probably has more utility than gold. I'm thinking about that one. And certainly, yeah, we can smelt down gold and we can use it for various industrial use cases and we can wear it and it's shiny. But I think for the average person, if you want to wear something shiny, there are plenty of other options, some of which are more durable than even gold. So when it comes to actual utility, I think people derive a lot more utility from not just Bitcoin, which they do right now when there's so much inflation going on and people are waking up to that, but also from being able to engage across platforms, send money permissionlessly. Yeah, I don't have to get into all of it again. So many that we've done over the years. But yeah, I certainly see a lot more utility for the average person who generally has an easier time even, and it's generally cheaper to get involved with cryptocurrencies these days than it is with gold. So yeah, definitely agree with him that you're going to have Bitcoin held on reserves by many governments, and they'll start very conservatively, of course. That's what's easiest to pass. That's what's easiest to get infrastructure around before they become comfortable, onboard more, and it's just a flood. And as the price goes up, it begets even more individuals, countries, nations, and these different companies to want to do the same. So that's some of the major news that I got for you guys. As every day rolls out, it's just a plethora of news, but I try to figure out what are the top ones that will benefit you guys, the most of you guys. I don't get too down into the dirty with specific coins these days, but I do value your thoughts down below in the comments as always. And remember to hit like, guys, if you guys enjoy the show, to subscribe. If you're new to the show, you're checking us out for the first time, please share these videos so we can get the word out there about what we're doing here. Try not to shill stuff. I'm not getting paid in the background. I don't even have ads that I'm sponsored. I haven't had in the past, but yeah, that was early days, right? It was always my goal to try to make this show profitable without having to do any advertisements. And luckily, I've been privileged enough, thanks to so many of you guys, to be able to continue the show on in such a way. And I thank especially my Patreon and YouTube sponsors and those of you who tip and so on. And those guys who just show up and have been here for the years and giving so much credibility to this channel by being OGs who engage. So thanks for being a part of the community, guys. Thank you for making it out. Yeah, there you are, Bit64, one of the sponsors. Hey man, thank you so much for staying with the show and continuing to get behind it like that, man. I can't thank you enough. And Wendell, Litecoin ETF coming soon. Yeah, I've heard about that one. That's right. And that MWeb privacy feature is great news, improvements, and there may be a stablecoin coming or using Litecoin. I would believe it. Thank you for that, Wendell. Ronald Paul, thank you for making it out. When bull market, I mean, we could very well be in it, right? Going back to what I was talking about in the beginning of the video, I'm not sure if you were here, tracking M2 money supply and the offset. We might very well be set up for a huge rise here that is even bigger than some of the recent rises that we got that took us up to around 100K initially. So let's cross our fingers and hope that's true, but anything could happen. So trade safely, guys. And Curve Shifter, indeed, my man. Thank you for making it out. Take care, everyone. I hope you have a fantastic weekend. Unless the whole market blows up, I'll see you guys on Monday. If not, I'll try to do a weekend video if it does. And here's our quote of the day by John Wooden, someone we often quote here. If you're not making mistakes, then you're not doing anything. I'm positive that a doer makes mistakes. So get out there and do, my friends. Do so that you're done did. Take care, much love, and stay cryptic. Peace.